Hey guys, so I'm back with another video, and today I'm going to be talking about the top 10 that I think are top 10 cloth diaper myths, and all the things that you might hear about cloth diapering or cloth nappying that you kind of just would put you off, and that you think about when you first think about cloth diapering that are just completely not true. Okay, so the first thing that people seem to think is, or the first thing that people ask me is about the washing. They think that I have to do tons of washing, that is, you know, my washing machine's full of poo, all this kind of stuff. For starters, cloth nappy washing is so easy. You just take the whole pail, you don't even need to touch any nappies, and put it in. You have a pail bag or like a pail bucket, or, you know, I suppose pail's quite an American word. I'll just say a nappy bin, and with a liner in it, a bit like a bin liner, and you put the nappies in there every time you use them, and then you just take the big sack out, just like you would take the bag of rubbish out into the laundry, into the rubbish. You just take the big bag of nappies and put it straight into the washing machine, turning it inside out, and then you just put it on a rinse cycle, 60, and then another rinse, and you're good to go. You take them out and they are fresh as a daisy. They can be tumble dried or they can be line dried. It's completely up to you. If they're tumble dried, they have to be tumble dried on low, but you know, you can just put them in straight away. If you are using an all-in-one system where the booster and everything, you don't need to do any stuffing, so it's just the whole nappy is contained, then it's so easy, because then you may not even need to fold them. You can just, if you couldn't be bothered to fold them, you can just leave them in the basket and take them as and when you need to use them. So it's really, really simple. It's not like normal laundry where you have to sort out colours, or you have to like fold them afterwards and put them away in different places, and depending on whose washing it is. It's so simple. And no, my washing machine has not got poo in it. Any poo that is in the nappy, you will flush down the toilet. If it's breastfed or formula fed poo, then it's water soluble, it just washes away. So there's no poo in my laundry. You know, we have the cleanest washing machine, the cleanest house, so that is definitely not something you need to worry about. Another myth is that you'll have to rinse your nappies in the toilet. You don't have to do this at all. If your baby is weaning and they're on solids, you can just plop the poo in the toilet if you're using a fleece liner, or you just use what I use, which is a biodegradable disposable liner, and you just flush it down the toilet. And you actually have to do this with disposables. If there's poo in the nappy, it is actually required by law to flush that down the toilet if it's solid. So a lot of people don't realise that. That's something that I do if we're using disposables as well, but you don't need to be doing any rinsing in the loo. There is some occasions, and it's very rare, where there might be poo around the nappy case, but in that case I will just get the shower head and hold it over the toilet and spray it that way. In the United States, they have water diaper sprayers that are attached to the toilet. We're legally not allowed to have those in the UK because of our plumbing systems. So, but I've never ever, apart from, you know, using the shower head, which does reach to our toilet, I've never had to do that. Only a couple of times when Sebastian's had a really, really bad nappy when he's been weaned. You know, we never really have that problem, so you don't need to be rinsing in the toilet at all if you really don't want to. Another myth is that cloth diapers are expensive. They are not expensive. They are a million times cheaper. The initial outlay is a lot more. Like, you have to pay a lot more up front, although I suppose if you're 9 months pregnant and then you just have 9 months to kind of build a stash each month, perhaps. Just the same as you would be like buying disposables in kind of regularly if there's offers and whatnot. But as I've mentioned in my last video, it costs $1,000 per year. So if you know, obviously a little bit more if you're working in pounds. $1,000 per year per child per year of nappying, whereas it's $400 to $500 for 1 to 3 children for 3 years, or for the time that they're in nappies. So there's a massive difference with cloth and with disposables, a huge difference. You're going to be saving yourself so much money. Each diaper obviously costs a lot more than a disposable, but you're using it and using it and using it, and the great thing is I've never had to worry about if I've run out and I have to nip to the shop. I don't have to worry about that. You just wash them and you're good to go. Another one is that cloth diapers leak, and I suppose this kind of goes back to like really old-fashioned styles maybe. But actually it's completely the opposite. I very rarely have leaks with cloth nappies. It does take a while, as I've mentioned before, to troubleshoot your boosting, perhaps if you have a very heavy wetter, to kind of work out what works well for your child. So you may have a few leaks in that respect, but now that we've worked out what works for Sebastian, we never get leaks. One thing you do have to do is change them more often, but you should be doing that with disposables anyway, because otherwise, even though the nappy is holding a lot of wee, they are still sitting in it. So one thing I have noticed is a lot of parents, because they think that the disposable can hold so much wee, that they just kind of leave them in it for longer, and really they are still sat in it, so you will get a lot more rashes, but we don't get that. That's another thing, we don't really get many rashes at all with cloth, but we rarely do get any leaks. Especially we get very few poo leaks, and I noticed that whenever Sebastian was, before he was weaned, he would explode out of disposables all the time. We were constantly changing his clothes. There was just so many poo explosions, and we never ever get that with cloth. So that is something, the containment is absolutely fantastic. So that is another absolute massive plus. Another myth is that cloth nappies stink. It's actually the complete opposite. I noticed that when Sebastian's in a disposable, I can really smell him after he's weed a couple of times. I really can smell the wee, the kind of ammonia-y type smell. In cloth, I can't smell anything. Even when he's pooed, I have to actually check inside the nappy because I can't even smell that he's pooed. So they are not stinky whatsoever. When I put them in the pail, I mean, it's in a sealed bin, but it has a bit of airflow because it's a flip-top bin, and there's no smells in there either. We keep it outside in the kind of porch area, so it's kind of in the kitchen out back. There's no smells, we don't have to worry about that at all. And especially after washing them, if you're washing them with a good quality detergent, and you're rinsing them plenty of times and there's no detergent build-up, then you're going to have really fresh smelling nappies each time. So not only is your child going to be in a nice cloth nappy, they are going to be in a lovely fresh smelling cloth nappy, which is so much better than the plasticky smell of disposables. Another myth is that some people have been saying, or recent kind of studies have suggested, that actually washing nappies might not be, the footprint might be the same as using disposables, and it might not be kind of as eco-friendly, when actually that's just completely not true. Yes, you do have to wash your nappies and you are using water, but they're not taking into consideration the fact that each nappy has to go into landfill, that it takes 500 years for a nappy to biodegrade, those are the kind of things that they're completely not taking into consideration. Also, the manufacturing as well the manufacturing process of making disposables is there's a lot of chemicals involved. And most of the time, if a family has more than one child, then they will probably be using cloth on pretty much all of those children.